Yeah, I heard yours.
Well, you
Very
heard mine.
strange.
Yeah, it wasn't a big. It wasn't a loud enough clap for the
Oh.
mic to be like, "Ooh, that's weird."
A thunderclap. That's what it is.
Yeah, see, like my audio is definitely capping at that, and it's a bit worrying. But I'm sat a bit further back, so I'm hoping I very rarely reach that level.
I feel like our audio and our technical stuff is improving week by week, but it's a slow gain. It's a slow burner.
Then we have we're plateauing in terms of the level of technical experience we're gaining here, I think.
I mean, eventually, I watch Harriet. I don't watch her watch podcasts. Obviously, that's a bit weird. But like, she watches podcasts, and then I'm listening in the background, and I'm like, I've done this. I've done this. What they've done there is
they've clapped.
Yeah. They've.
Well, we've seen the clap on the rest is football. It's great.
Are they?
Yeah. Do you not see their videos recently? They actually
I don't watch it.
No. You don't watch it.
I don't watch it. I probably should, right? It's pretty good.
Good little pod that.
Yeah.
Good chemistry, I think. Michael Richards has brought a lot to the football commentary world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We better get started with this podcast because I know Joe's itching to make content. So
yeah, I can still see his knee bouncing up and down.
I can tell by his face he's itching to be anywhere else. Listeners, welcome back to the Spill the TCG podcast. My name is Ben. I'm joined here by my fellow co-casters, commentators, and podcasters.
That's not your actual intro, is it?
Why?
He's written that down somewhere.
Because you've done the same thing as always.
What have I done? No energy or something?
No energy. Yeah.
Oh, come on!
I was looking for a piece of paper to write more energy.
This is my Louis Theroux.
No.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast.
That's great.
Is that what? I just did that.
No.
Can you now do it with that high pitched voice that you just had?
No. That's only for special occasions.
That's your outraged voice.
Okay, I'll do a Louis Theroux, right? Okay. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the Spill the TCG podcast. You're joined here by my fellow co-casters, Joe and Alex. My name is Benjamin Rawayotti. Guys, how are we feeling today? Joe, I'll start with you.
I'm alright, I guess.
Energy. Come on. Dan, how are you?
Don't just say, how are you? It's a bizarre question. Fine.
It is very bizarre. Considering we all speak to one another on a daily basis.
Every day.
We've spoken for hours today. Yeah.
Every hour of every minute we speak to each other. The memes have been flowing through the past couple of weeks.
Pretty close, to be fair, isn't it?
Through the world events and other things, obviously. We've rambled on for quite a bit, but I think the first on the agenda was really just what we've been up to. Of course, we didn't record a podcast last week, so we've just been so busy with just everything. Dow, I know that you played a League Cup and you won your first one, which is fantastic. So, how you feeling after that victory? Take us through the journey.
It was been a long time coming, as you're well aware, Benjamin. What a terrible joke to try and spin it back around on me. But yes, first cup of the season I got to play. It's probably the only weekend I have free. So I decided to venture down to good old Eastbourne, Kid Stuff Toys, run by Stephen Kent. Pretty good event. I mean, there was 18 masters, a lot of people who I know there as well, multiple Worlds players who are going to be going to Hawaii this year. But yeah, it was just a nice event. Ran pretty smoothly. I mean, when it's 18 people, it's not really too much. But there was like a VG event at the same time. There was an opportunity to do a league challenge straight afterwards as well. But nice. I think I had enough Pokemon feel for the day. But yeah, no, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I took home the dub, which is always good. Back to the same old where I complain that it's still so far away and it's probably not going to be possible, but let's make a start and see where we get to. I think.
Yeah, I have your list open now on the thing. So take us through the choice of Charizard and Pidgeot. What was your thought process?
I mean, we've spoken about it before on the pod. It's basically my NAIC list with a couple of tweaks after speaking to a few different people. sort of at the event and after the event as well. One of the biggest changes was actually getting those promo Charmanders in as a good 70 HP 2 fire energy attacker, dealing 40 damage compared to the 30 of the other 70 HP. Quite useful now in a field and meta of Gardevoirs and sort of things like Drifloon and things like that. So that was it was nice to have. Also made the change of putting Cleffa back in. I know Joe hates it and his blood is boiling as I talk about it right now, but I took out an Iono, sort of thinking that we have Stamp now.
Even I'm wincing at that one.
No, it's absolutely fine. You don't want to be Ionoing. It's fine.
Said no one ever.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at some other very accomplished players, they played 4-2 of an Iono split with the Stamp build as well.
Yeah.
So that's where I ventured back. But knowing that, again, if I face any sort of more aggressive matchups, and Cleffa was kind of MVP in a couple of matchups I had, which was really cool. But yeah, kept mostly the same list just because I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I probably would have played Snorlax if I had the cards for it, but you know,
you should have.
I probably was a little bit better that I didn't. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was like I said, a good tournament. I played some really good players. I played Carl Blake round 1, who was playing Gardevoir. Really long as expected game 1. So we didn't really finish beyond that. Not making any jokes about Carl being slow or anything. But yeah, it came down to a massive Devo swing turn, and I couldn't stabilize straight after that. But then faced off against a couple of good matchups in Ancient Box and Future Hands, and then finally had a win. I think you have it up on the page. I can't remember.
Yeah, I did.
Fourth round.
But
I can't even remember right now. Oh, it was Quad Fawns, and that was where Cleffa came in clutch because I needed a way to be able to draw cards to get energies into hand as it's being crushing hammered away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played against Dragapult Pidgeot as well in my final round, which I tied, but still kind of, I guess, quote unquote, made it in because there was only a number of people at 3-1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, a top 4, pretty standard. Had a Raging Bolt matchup, which I'm very comfortable with, as per my NAIC sort of run. And then I had another Gardevoir matchup in the finals. And I mean, it's best of 3. I took a really long game 1. He did take a really fairly quick game 2, but I knew time was sort of running out. And I guess I'm also at an advantage, I'd like to think, when you go into time.
Yep.
And it's just so happened that he took his a single prize on turn 2 to make sure that he just didn't instantly lose the game if I take one prize, which meant that I had to find a route to just gust up his Guardi EX and take the dub. So nice. That was very quick tournament report, but yeah, good fun. Like I said, who doesn't like playing Pokemon? Eh? It's been a while since NAIC, so it was good to just get some points on the board for the new season.
Yeah, nice. 50 points, taking the dub, so that's pretty good. Actually, I've only been to Eastbourne once for a cup, and that was during that double cup weekend we went on, Joe, a very long time ago when we went to Eastbourne and Bexhill. That was great fun.
Yeah.
Good league down there, really popular. So shout out to them. Joe, what have you been up to the past couple of weeks? Obviously, content been streaming out with new sets, worlds ahead. So how you been?
I mean, content hasn't been streaming out, to be honest.
You did lock away a human being.
I've mostly done... Yeah, So I started playing new format stuff, and that's going to start coming onto the channel over this week and next week, which is really good. So I've started to get a grip of the world's metagame. I was meant to go to a cup this weekend, but I didn't book in time and it's sold out. So I think my first one's going to be end of July that I play in a cup. But that's all good. I think that'll be the only one I play in the world, the pre-Worlds format. I think the NEIC meta, right? So my attention is mostly towards Worlds now and starting to prep a lot of that stuff. The set review will be out this week, so that's where my attention is really at. Started to learn Lorcana as well, which has been fun over the last couple of weeks and months. Watched a few of those streams. Obviously, Ross was commentating one of them, so that was, I suppose, also part of the motivation to watch a lot of that stuff. Haven't committed to any of the Ursula Returns tournaments just yet. Again, there was one that was sold out before I booked it, because I've just been umming and ahhing over stuff rather than actually just committing to it and then thinking about it later. But I might try and weave them in. I think most of the things that are near me conflict with Pokemon Cups, which is the problem. But yeah, that's mostly been what I've been up to.
Yeah, for Lorcana events have been popping off, and especially with the Pokemon crowd as well. A lot of people kind of dipping their toes in, which is great to see into another hobby. Shout out to Robin Schultz as well for a good showing in the
Very cool.
Bochum, right? Bochum
Yeah.
this weekend, which was great to see him on stream, and then also Ross commentating over that as well. It was,
That's so bizarre.
It was quite weird. I had it on in the house, and Harry was saying, "Is there a Pokemon event this weekend?" And I went, "No," and because she could hear Ross speaking about Robin, and of course she knows all the stars, all the hits.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite funny. Yeah, Lorcana, I've been dipping my toes into it a bit as well. I booked on to Birmingham, which will be fun. But
Did we all?
I think
Joe?
I've not yet
I don't
booked
think
it.
Joe-
I'm still umming and ahhing. I'm free that weekend, so I might. But
So, funny story about that one. I mean, you both know, but it's through Meta GG, Melee GG.
Melee GG.
Yeah. And my name on there was something that I was taking the mick out of the, kind of the Cardiff crowd. Mine was Rabby Snipe EZ XXX No Scope. That's my name, and I'm really hoping that's not on the match slip as we get into the tournament.
Yeah.
Because then Timo and Connor were like, "Oh, you realise that's what people are going to say when they sit down? Are you Rabby Snipe EZ XXX No Scope?" I was just like, "Oh God." Yeah, that's funny. No, past couple of weeks, I actually haven't stopped playing Pokemon, which is pretty good actually. Last weekend I was in Bristol at a cup I hadn't been to before, Excelsior Comics, which was great. Really good local scene there as well, and a really good.
I thought you went to that last season.
Did I?
I thought that was the store where it was like popping off, and I was just like, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things where they're getting a lot of players, and you were like, yeah, it's max anytime.
That's Bath, I think.
Was that Bath? Okay.
Bath, yeah. Bath was the one that was quite big. That was like 50 players. But Bristol was 38. And I know that you and Luke Kirkham had gone to Cups as well, and I was really interested, obviously, following on from the new announcements with Worlds and stuff about attendance rates, and it seems like Pokemon's just as popular, if not more popular than ever.
Everything's selling out, so...
Yeah, everything's still completely selling out. And Bristol was 38 players, and that was maximum capacity. There were two, I think it was one junior, one senior, or two of either one, and then 38 masters, which was really great to see. People still, putting the time into travel as well. Played somebody who drove in all the way from Plymouth, which was crazy. Beat them. But,
Yeah.
Beat them, did you? You rubbed it in their face.
Sorry, so such a long drive. Which was good. And then yesterday played a challenge, and then this weekend I got another cup booked.
You
You
got
played
it.
Snorlax for both.
Is this-
You played Snorlax for both, right?
I played Snorlax for both. So Saturday had a really good showing in Swiss. Was fortunate to hadn't played much Reggie Drago before last weekend. So going into that matchup, which was I think round 3.
Do you try and trap something by any chance, or
Did I what? Sorry.
do you try and trap something? Is that the route?
I did try. I think I tried to get Pokemon that couldn't attack down as early as possible.
Oh, that's strat. Okay,
Yeah. I tried.
Oh, that's interesting.
And Joe, I did. I did.
Oh,
I
did you?
Yeah, I had. Yeah, so then I got all the way to top 4. I won't bore you, but it was either I either win or you know how it is. No kind of weird matchup.
What did you lose to?
I lost. I won all the way in Swiss. I ID'd twice, and then in top 8 I played Lost Box, just the
Turbo.
The list that's been flying around, NAIC list. And then in top 4 I played up against Roaring Moon, which I've beaten in the past, but I've also lost to it. It can, if I'm not keeping up the tempo, it's pretty difficult. But then
Did they play a penny? Did they play?
No penny. So two boss, prime catcher, two switch.
Yeah. Okay.
Which
so
isn't-
they're right on that line of like, if they get the early Rotom KO, things can be problematic for you,
So
right?
if they can keep all the resources and I get rid of nothing, they're taking maximum 5 prizes, right? But
Sure.
if they have a way of getting cards back, which spoilers.
It also depends what they start with as well, right? They can just load something up early and just start attack, like announcing attack straight away, right?
Yeah.
By not venturing anything.
So if I give them an extra turn by that method, say if they just start Roaring Moon and just go energy pass, energy pass, energy pass, then yeah, it's really difficult for me. And I'm forced to get rid of these switches, but that didn't happen because they played the 1/1 Darkrai, which was
that does make it a lot harder. Yeah,
that makes it a bit harder. There was one in game 1 I won. He got back Prime Catcher and Switch, and so I just gusted an area the next turn, which was quite funny.
he used them both. He used the V-Star power and didn't use either card.
No. Use the Prime Catcher, but of course still had Switch in hand. So I mean, you
Yeah.
have to anyway. I guess like you're forced to anyway, right? But
Yeah, sorry, you made it sound like you just took both out again.
yeah. Just get rid of that. No,
Yeah.
so lost top 4. Really lovely opponents though all day, which was great. And then in the challenge yesterday, again, pretty boring. But I played against Reggie Drago again last round. The guy, so the guy had asked me to ID before we played the round, which I thought was crazy because the pressure's on already for some of these players to already get points on the board. And I don't know why he was.
So an ID would lock in a top 4, I would imagine, right? Was that
an ID would lock in? No, so they would have won because they were 3-0 and I was 2-0-1. So
Well, that's why they would offer an ID, right?
yeah, I know.
That doesn't sound. I mean, it sounds. You made it sound like it was crazy, but that's just logical.
I know, but
if they're the
it's
only
not-
3-0.
But if I'm self-aware, like I know that I need to win to guarantee myself a top 4 place. I lost anyway. They played Reggie
Should have
Drago,
ID'd.
which I found after the matchup was actually pretty horrific because everything can attack. And I was just in a really fortunate place in the weekend where I had managed to get Lumineon down as early as possible. I started one of my rounds with 3 flutes, which was quite funny, because people still don't know what that card does, and you just kind of mill it through. But yeah, that was my past couple of weeks. Cup on the weekend as well, which I'll play. I think I'll play
Snorlax, actually.
Snorlax, actually.
Surprised me.
Yeah,
I actually want to play that Monkey Dory Frostlass deck.
that looks really fun. Really fun. Yeah. Joe, you're a big connoisseur of that deck, aren't you? You like that?
No.
No?
Where's that? Why'd you just say things?
It's all I've been hearing from you.
Not at all. No.
Okay. All right. Well, what's next on the agenda?
Well, I mean,
So-
Joe, if you were to go to a cup next weekend, what would you play?
So if it was next weekend, I would probably play Dragapult. And
Would you?
that's also what I'm thinking of playing at the end of the month. Yep.
Dragon
Out
Ball
of
still.
interest.
Dragon Ball still.
Why?
Looks really fun.
So I think it's really good.
As in, like, straight Dragapult Pidgeot, or...
No, I would play it with Xatu. I think it's really good into
With Xatu?
cup meta. Yeah. Because
I
I still feel like forcing one prize boards is super, just amazing in cup meta.
I still think Dragon Ball looks really fun. I'm very jealous of people, taking that deck to a cup and feeling really confident into matchups and,
I just think I have so much time with the deck
Yes.
when you play it that way round. You represent so few 2 prize opportunities for the opponent that I just have time to play my game, and I think that's just very important. to be honest.
Very interesting, because I don't see too many Dragapult Sartu lists.
Yeah, no one plays it. But it tested well for me pre-NAIC. I probably would, if I'd played NAIC, I would have played a Xatu build. And obviously, Dragapult didn't do great at NAIC, but I also think a lot of people didn't play Xatu builds at NAIC. and I still feel like it's completely fine. And it's actually kind of interesting for Shrouded Fable that archetype specifically benefits the most from Pheasantipity as well, because you just get a huge extra burst of draw on top of your engine that's already draw. That's a side tangent, but I think Xatu's bad for other reasons in Worlds format. But the Pheasantipity would be like a cool addition to that. But yeah, I think like you saw me testing a ton of Draga Xatu in person down. The deck still felt like really, really sound, and I think it's just very solid.
I mean, my view on that was just it always kind of like petered out because of the need to attach a psychic energy to draw cards, right?
I mean, you have a lot of draw from. I mean, it was winning a ton of games, even though it had to pass because you whiffed stuff all the time. Yeah. Like that's what was nice about it.
It's kind of a dual dependence, right? Because you're depending on for energy acceleration and also draw consistency. So it's quite a weird.
Yes and no, because if they're targeting Xatu, you've got energy stashed on other things anyway, and draw on other things. So you'll always have an element of draw on board. So it's yes and no.
It feels good to have your draw as a recon directive, like one of them, for example.
It doesn't feel good. It's not a big enough.
Just have like one. Yeah. That's how I've always kind of felt.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's valid. It doesn't have any results. Yeah. But it tested very well for me, and I feel like Dragapult is criminally underplayed in this format. So
I see.
I mean, if I was to play, I think I'd play a Zard Pult version.
That's fine too.
That's the interesting thing, because I still think even when we were discussing before NAIC about Dragapult and how it's the kind of this uncontested and the way to play it is, people's mindset are a bit inconsistent. I still think that's really much the case. I played against Lost Zone Dragapult on the weekend, which I thought was really brave of somebody to do.
Brave.
Because I don't think it's the popular option, is it, against like the Pidgeot Zard Pult?
I mean, pre-NAIC it was the most popular.
I know. Well, was it?
Yeah, towards Masterclass was all about it.
Yeah, I know, but in actual reality of people taking it to tournaments, I don't think it was all that popular.
I mean, the Lost Zone version was almost 5% of NAIC. So if you extrapolate all the other Dragapult lists out, it's probably the most popular one.
Yeah.
Okay. But generally.
Yeah.
You're so brave. You're so brave for playing this deck.
I said you're so brave.
Yeah, kudos to you.
I mean, I do think Lostbot's got worse post NAIC because of how many stamp decks there are. But I think, like, heading into NAIC meta, it wasn't brave. It was just like pretty reasonable, I think. Well, I think in general, Dragapult had a really weird NAIC, is what I'm trying to get to. And I think Xatu has been written off for just the insane amount of results it had in Japan, which I know were only League Cups. But even in their format now, that it's still having like a ton of results. So I think Xatu Dragapult still has so much going for it, just from a logical standpoint of like you force one prize boards, and that's really good with Radzard. And you just have a lot of draw, and the flexibility of its attack is still insane. So it's what I've like. It's a good enough deck I think I can bring to Cups.
It's just like with anything. If you put time into it,
that's the thing.
It's comfortable, right?
Yeah, so. Like I haven't put more time into the NAIC meta, so I'll just play the thing I played the most in that format.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I think a deck that I have seen pretty much a downfall on in terms of popularity is Raging Bolt Ogerpon. I haven't seen that deck in the past.
Because it's trash into Guardi, right?
It's trash into Guardi, and I think people are favouring Regidrago over it now, in terms of.
Yeah, I mean, Drago has really upticked, but Raging Bolt farms Drago. Like Raging Bolt enjoys Drago upticking in the meta.
There was the person who played. I was just going to say the person who played Raging Bolt at the cup I was at, who was for second seed into top 4, played Jamming Tower, played Flutter Mane as well. So he had a few different techs to like, and actually won his matchup against Carl Gardevoir as well. I think Carl might have missed like a turn, but maybe that's all he needed.
That's typically all Raging Bolt does need, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I could just show announcing attack, but just having like a one. I don't know if he played additional Jamming Towers, but at least like a tech card that gives him an additional 5% into the matchup was kind of quite a cool way to swing it a little bit, which is kind of cool.
I mean, it's not the matchup's not atrocious because you're a consistent beat stick, and playing vacuum / jamming or whatever makes it better. But I would still be very happy to play it as any Guardi, even if they played triple jamming. Like, I don't think it makes a huge difference.
No, I mean the person who I played in the finals didn't even play Drifloon.
Yeah,
cards.
exactly. You don't have to play Drifloon at all in the meta.
Yeah,
Did they play Mew EX?
I didn't remember seeing a Mew EX. He definitely he played Mimikyu. He played Crisis Punch.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like heavy Arven builds, Devos, and kind of where Guardi's kind of evolved to, I guess, a little bit. But his list was quite a bit different, I think.
Was it like double monkey, like
double
triple dark?
Yeah, I think
high dark.
I don't know if it was. Don't know if I saw high dark. There was definitely double monkey, which is
that means it's at least too dark, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
interesting.
I mean, both him and Carl spent a lot of time double monkeying every turn against me. It was quite scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. Especially when I know Devo's coming. You could just see the like 5 damage counters on the Pidgeot EX, and I'm like, oh god, okay, now I've got to deal with this.
Yeah.
There's suddenly 6 on my the barrel, and things like that. But yeah, was able to win anyway, so it's fine. But yeah,
just win anyway.
It's a really strange meta. I mean, it's not something we have to worry too much about, I guess, because it's just cups at the moment.
I mean, the NEIC meta was very, very cool, I think, and maybe because it was so short that it still feels underdeveloped, I suppose. But
but do you think people are still putting time into this meta? They're just going to play their sort of home comfort.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. That's why it's underdeveloped, right? Because you can justify playing a lot of decks without actually trying to like refine it down to the science, because there's other things to focus on instead with higher EV if you put time into other tournaments.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think moving on to talking about other tournaments and metas, Joe, you touched upon it earlier. You've had first-hand experience of testing the next format that we're going into with Stellar Miracle, the new set.
Shrouded Fable.
Shrouded Fable.
Stellar Miracle's in September. Stellar Miracle.
Okay.
Are you thinking?
Right.
Well, it depends what we're talking about. Are we skipping over Worlds, or are we talking about Stellar Miracle?
Yeah. Are we skipping mini set or?
Well, I
it's quite important for me.
I thought you were testing Stellar Miracle.
No,
or
I was
have you just
testing
tested
Worlds format.
Shrouded Fable?
You know,
okay.
the
As a
format,
content creator,
the format for the World Championships.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's only the World Championships. That you have to worry about.
I'll pretend I know what I'm talking about. That's the ticket. Okay. So again, going back, let's retract that. You've had experience of testing the Shrouded Fable meta.
Yes, I have, Ben.
Yes. That's exactly the energy I'm looking for, Joe. Brilliant. I'm Louis through.
Yeah, I made about 10 decks, and me and Jack were jabbing all the usual suspects into one another. Definitely
How
feels
many
like
games did you actually get out of interest?
recorded games.
No. Just in terms of not just record. I mean, like, is that you saying recorded as if you like wrote down the result, or I mean, like, how many games did you get in?
I meant recorded as in the recorder was on when we played the games.
Well, that's what I mean. I want to know.
I have 16 videos for your viewing pleasure coming up.
16.
But
16 individual
did you have more
matches,
games as
I
well?
think.
Right. Okay.
No, but we were mostly just like, trawling through Pokeka book and talking about logic and discussing these builds and stuff and the tweaks. It does feel like there aren't new decks from the sets. We pretty much debunked the Okie Dokie deck. It feels terrible to play, absolutely abysmal.
Is it not
And
good?
the one thing that separates Worlds format from the Japanese format is the Petrarump promo that we get from the ECB, and I think it's also a blister promo that can effectively like donk stuff, right? Because it upticks poison damage to 6. So you can donk stuff. Actually, is it to 7? No, it's 5. Yeah, it's 5 more damage, but you can go to a 7 damage tick with
Sneasler.
Radiant Sneasler, yeah. So you can effectively donk vulnerability now, but it turns out it's just like very inconsistent to pull that off. So much so that I wouldn't expect like a Clorf deck or any other real poison. Like the Yoki Dogi deck, having that as a early like attack option doesn't actually work that well because the deck just doesn't have enough of an engine behind it. Like Janine not drawing 3 like Asada would makes it just so inferior to Raging or to Roaring Moon, which I like entirely expected. But I thought that like the fact that you could use this one prizer to take prizes that wasn't stamp prone was like a big selling point. But it's not enough of a selling point because the deck just doesn't draw what it needs to. And I missed the chance to donk in a number of matchups just because it's too many combo pieces. You need Bonnet plus Tool plus the Petrarump plus a switch card plus sometimes a damage mod. So like, yeah, it was just too many things to do when your early ball search normally just had to go to Squawk anyway to just like see the extra cards. There's just too many things to find. So that was definitely not good enough. What else is there? We didn't build the United Wings deck because you just know that on paper its matchup spread is either very good or very bad. Like if you face something that does damage counter placement like a Guardi or a Drago or a Pult, you know it's a bad matchup. And if you're hitting for the weaknesses into like Charizard, Lugia, it's a good matchup, you would think, as long as it works. So I'm going to save that till PTGL, I think. We didn't bother just going into 70-30 matchups and sit down and play them. It was more so about just the tweaks of the good decks, so incorporating the Dust Noir into the Dragapult Pidgeot, into the Charizard Pidgeot, incorporating... What else did we put into decks? A lot of Fezandipity going into a lot of decks, a lot of Nightly Stretches going into decks as well. Haven't yet tried the Mochizard. I think I would only care about Mochizard if I was worried about control enough, and I don't know where I stand on that really. One of the things we didn't build was control just because of how long games get. So that's still like a gap in our knowledge. But yeah, the Dust Noir is real deal. It definitely seems very strong. There was some crazy stuff that happened in our games that I don't want to spoil, but it is just like it's a game-changing card when it comes off. It felt like it didn't come off a huge amount.
Is that the biggest issue in getting it to come off? Because it's still a detrimental effect, right? So you still give up a prize. Yes, you're obviously putting down.
It's still a lot of cards in deck as well, right?
Yeah, like for a Charizard Pidgeot, you're still focused on getting a turn 2 Candyzard, Candy Pidge, so it's not like you can weave in Clops as well, like very often. And same for these other decks like Dragapult, similar story. And I was trying thin packages in most decks, like 1/1/1 lines or even just 1/1/0 lines. So it was sort of when you draw into it and when you can weave it in, it can be good. But it genuinely did just like open checkmates or completely swing boards just off of one turn. And there are situations, even just candying Dust Noir just completely changes the game at times because you just blow up one of the evolving Pokemon and then enable your Countercatcher to KO another. And it just means that board states get really weird. Like against Chempower, people like we had to put down like 3 Frigibacks in a ton of situations just in case there was a blow up plus KO turn, all this sort of stuff. So it just makes the board states just like really bizarre. So that's definitely the real deal. And yeah, I'm definitely in love with Nightly Stretcher. That card is so good. I'm putting it in so many decks. The flexibility of the card is just immense. So trying to squeeze that slot in seems really good. But yeah, I don't know if there's much else to really touch on, to be honest. Fezandipity busted, Dust Noir definitely good. I didn't try any like combo Dust Noir yet, like a 4/4 line.
Yeah.
With the Hyper Roma or anything. It has to be a gimmick, but I suppose I'll try it at some point as well. Definitely feels like another one I want to play on PTGO for highlight reel moments.
Seems really fun just based on a few things that I've seen and just kind of fearing it, but it just. Again, I think it's one of those that might just peter out, or you just open if you're doing it in like the Lost version, right?
Yeah.
With something like the Lost City, sometimes imagining just opening that Sableye and just sitting there and go, well, I will scratch.
Yeah, there'll be rags and riches stories with that deck, no doubt. But very cool on paper that the Lost City is how you actually ramp your Lost Zone more so than Comfey Switch shenanigans. Yeah, that's very, very cool. So there's got to be something around those decks, but not only like will it have polarized matchups, but like you said, polarized based on its draw as well, and the window can very much shut for your combo to be any good. So yeah, still a lot for me to uncover, to be honest with you, because I stuck with the higher tier stuff I still need to play with more like Frostlass Monkey Dory with additions of like Yveltal, maybe Blood Moon Ursaluna. I know some of the Japanese players were jamming that. That's
Before
so there's
we
still
even
still a lot.
go more into the decks. How long do we have this format of this Worlds format? Do we have it for the first event of the season as well?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Let me.
What's the set release?
I can get my dates up. Hold on.
I think so.
Baltimore will be. Baltimore is
Baltimore's
14th,
before
15th
Dortmund,
of
right?
September. Yeah. What's the set called? Stellar Miracle. A Stellar Crown for us.
Yeah.
Release date is 13th of September, so Dortmund will also be... Dortmund will be the first weekend of Stellar Miracle, right? 13th,
Right, okay.
20th. Yeah.
So the 27th, 28th.
Oh, nice.
Is that the first Saturday? So we only have one event, and that's not on our shores.
It will be exactly Baltimore, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, though, because obviously we have it for the World's meta.
Yeah, I think last year our first event was still the Worlds format, because I think I remember preparing
Barcelona, right?
an Arc Pika Hammer deck for that format, and then not ending up playing it because we had travel issues, right? Was that what it was?
It's Barcelona.
No, you.
Oh, that's going back.
Barcelona.
That's going back even longer. That's like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
What was that, Bilbao?
That would have been Bilbao.
Yeah, that would have been Bilbao. Right?
Before it changed away from Bilbao.
Because I remember at Worlds they announced Bilbao and everyone was like, right, okay, that's 2 weeks away.
Yeah. And then there was the unfortunate chaos of like planes not wanting to fly.
Oh, it was the French air traffic control.
Strikes, yeah.
So Dortmund will be Tarapago set, which could be a great segue into the next thing we want to talk about, I suppose, because there's been some new cards revealed.
I wanted to. I think Shroud of Fable, just the last point of that, for me, it's a very. I think on paper the Okie Dokie, the Loyal 3 deck wasn't ever going to be good enough to play with the big boys. I don't think it was ever good enough to
agree.
Tier 2 or 3.
I hope someone makes you eat your words.
No,
well, I'm going to come on to eating words in a minute, but it feels like I call it a bitty set, where like there's not one specific archetype that comes out of the set. It's just like a lot of cards that just are kind of spread through different archetypes, so that you can introduce into existing decks. But I was going to say...
It reminds me of Pokemon Go for Worlds, right? It's exactly what I want it to be, of enough of a freshen up, but not so wild that it's like a complete blindsiding for the players.
I'll be really interested to see, because obviously you've already called it meta-defining, that Dusk Noir line, as it were. Just because it's got such an impactful ability and such a cool sort of unique.
It just changes in game play so much. It makes just a Dusk Skull on bench makes the opponent play that entire turn entirely differently, just on the what if of stuff happening.
What I will be wondering is how truly impactful it will be. As in, like, we see it
I think people will be
in all top 8 decks of Worlds.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that, and I think there could be justification to play Zero Dusk Noir, certainly in Guardi, certainly in Dragapult. They could just play like Alakazam and Hawlucha and not have that line. Like, you can definitely steal those spaces, because we're mostly talking about in already stage 2 decks. So space is already kind of tight. I think Zard will definitely play this though, unless they're going for Poison Mochi strat.
It does feel like Zard's the only one which
it has to go in that
fully benefit from it, right?
It feels
because again, the ramp up the damage, the additional damage counters, but again, it's the space. So I think just from early thoughts, or what I might have seen is it's the barrel line that takes.
Yeah, you go barrel out
and then you
into
go
Pheasant to +1 space, and you are still making some pretty tough other slots, to be honest with you. But I have to say that it's worth it, at least in Zard. I think we played the most Zard, so
it benefited too much.
I just wonder if we'll see it, how much we'll see it in the other decks as well. But
yeah, I mean, it could easily be the case where it is just a Zard card and then like a show reel moment in other things. I don't think that's crazy either.
Yeah, I was gonna watch this space, I guess, isn't it?
I was gonna say, Joe, did you play any Kieran in testing? Or
I had Kieran in one deck. Yeah. I had it in Regidrago.
Yeah.
Don't think I attacked with it.
I was right.
Well, I mean,
were you? I think.
What do you mean by you were right? I thought it wasn't going to go into. Yeah, I don't think any deck will use this as a tech card. I agree. I still hold true to that.
I think it's just a
This is a Reggie Drago deck card, and even then, I think its biggest upside is that you're taxing decks to put a Manaphy down in fear of the Kyurem. When it's just a one-off in your deck, it's hard to like get it down turn 2 alongside all the other stuff you're trying to accumulate. So there's no doubt it can do some scary stuff, and Drago could play Cologne as well, because you need to also have either a Shred Attacker or Cologne in the deck, so one of those things will probably be the case. So Cologne Kyurem will be this like highlight reel, terrifying, monstrous moment if it comes off. So it's like good in Drago, and it's meant that I've added...
I still think it's splashable into the decks.
I mean, by definition, it is splashable because of its ability, but I believe there will still not be a Lost Zone. Like, I do not think there will be enough representation of Lost Zone for it to ever be worth your tech space.
The representation,
which was exactly what I said.
I don't know, we've always said that, though. We've always said Lost Box, it's going to go on a down tier now, but it never has.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
I mean, I also just think even without Kyurem in Drago, the Drago matchup isn't great. The fact that Dragapult is probably like getting more established in the world's format is not great. Gardevoir being stronger into Lost Zone box with its more disruptive tools and a bigger leaning towards Double Monkey, I would imagine at Worlds. These are all things that I think play against Lost Box.
It's got Goodra as well, right, for Red Drago. So
for Lost Box. Yeah. I played a very limited attacking suite in my Drago just to make it work as much as possible. But Goodra is a reasonable card to play. I think I would only play Goodra if I expected a lot of Lugia, because you're scared of Chinchino now.
Yeah.
Chinchino is very likely to be back because of Charizard.
It's good for Guardi as well, right? I feel
Goo. Not as good as just polting non-stop. Mm-hmm. The only time you would do it is if you are like tight on resources, like you had to squawk away 1 or 2 E-switches and you need a Drago to live for a turn just to get an extra turn attachment. That would be the only time I'd think about weaving in a Goo. Because they can just go around other stuff anyway. They play double CC, they play Scream. They'll find prizes that turn even if you Goodra, so you may as well just do more impactful things.
Yeah. I'm just... The cogs are turning. I'm just...
Blow the cobwebs and the dust off from just Snorlax.
What does Gardevoir do again?
What? Can I?
It didn't attack my Snorlax.
How many switch do you play?
Sorry, are you able to retreat that? Because I'm confused.
Yeah, very good. Okay, then following on to Dad, have you had any experience into this new Shrouded Fable set? Is there anything that
well, are you excited? Are you excited that Zard is very much still on the table with? With where you've been at the moment?
There's definitely a reason why I continue to play Zard, just because I think it's something I can fall back on.
Yeah.
And of course, the deck changes with having to include something like a Dusclops line or 2, depending on how we build it. Has to go into the deck to make it work against a lot of the format. I think I'm only sort of fearing a lot of decks at the moment in terms of what I could consider, and it's mainly
only a month away now. Only a month away.
It's mainly around what we've got good now, right? So I do think there'll be a massive uptick in Drago, because I think it's actually really good, and I think it's just again maybe like a free card tweak between lists that will probably end up being sort of a most played deck. Then you sort of start thinking the roundabouts, and do I go into that Lugia moment again and just play something that's good against those kind of decks? Yeah, I mean, it's again something a lot of people may try and fall back on, but it's also a good deck that's always there as well. I think.
Well, I've managed to max rarity Snorlax now, so I've got the entire deck.
Very good.
Next day delivery, it can get to you.
So we're a month out from Worlds. Would we all say that our current top 3 in terms of popularity is going to be Zard, Guardi, Drago? Would we all agree with that? Does anyone think there should be something else in terms of popularity right now? Just on where you think the hype is and where you think the well-placed decks are.
I wouldn't think Drago's in the top 3. I would agree with the other 2.
What would you put in third?
I would have thought Lugia would be in the
Interesting.
top 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute.
just hit a little mute on that if you want.
Where's my phone? Hang on.
Just mute if you want, mate. That's always fine. We can talk amongst ourselves.
Get her a cup of tea, will you?
Yeah, Lugia is an interesting one because it obviously flopped NAIC, but it does have the attributes that you want in a Worlds formats of just being fast and finishing games.
And I think that's a massive draw for me. Again, getting to that stage of trying to consider it once again.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Drago Guardia will be the top 2 played.
I can see those being very played. Yeah.
And then Charizard will be played just again because it's.
I think Charizard could be the most played.
You?
The amount of hype from Japan is insane, and it is the best user of Dusk.
That's very true.
I mean, it's very, very popular, I think. And God of War genuinely has some fear factor around the Dusk and just more Drago and more Dragapult. Like, I don't think Dragapult will be top 3 in popularity, but I think it'll be more than more than, like, it could be 10% of the meta maybe. If we think it's going to be very much like 15%ers for the top 3 and then a dip down.
I would have put Lugia 4th.
Okay.
Just because of those attributes you've mentioned.
I think we all agree that it's going back to a Chinchino build, probably, right? Because of Charizard.
Just because of the builds that you want to be facing up against, like the Charizards, like the Dragos. You want those big.
You want 4 mist energy
hitters.
Yeah.
And then the mist energies are again just all of these cards just sound so good.
Mist is the crazy freaking card, man. It's sad that you spend all year working hard to get an invite and then you just say, well, it's time for the Casino Lugia. But I definitely respect anyone who does do that because it does feel on like the right move for probably a decent number of people.
It honestly just feels like on brand for where this tournament structure's gone into. The
Lean format, into the structure. Yeah,
honestly,
genius.
Yeah. Just it feels almost that way. I mean,
it's
like,
also
how many people were going to try Control or.
It's also very much the case that Lugia was very hard targeted at NAIC and probably led to its downfall. I mean, we saw Evenhoff play eHammer and Sinnoh, right? So there were people very willing to tech, and I think a lot of people will be cutting for these like Dust Noirs and for this like Devo and other stuff like that. The fact that Lugia isn't necessarily on radar for enough people just makes it cruise a bit more, I think.
Yeah, unless we see the influx of like Japan winning lists again that come through in the last week before Worlds and everyone starts panicking. But let's see.
I was away for a bit of that conversation, but I'm guessing you both agreed with me violently. But I think the reason I say Lugia third, potentially into that those other two, Zard and Guardia, I think you said. I think Lugia still has a very good showing both online, and it has a very strong showing at that. I think it wins more than half the games, and I think it has very good matchups throughout. And I think you touched upon it, Alex, with the Lugia effect. I think that there's still that shred of belief in people's minds that it is as consistent as it should, as people think it should be. And I think that it's been tried and tested, right? It's been around the block for a while. People know what to do with it. People know how to play it. It's got a few additions.
My list plays no new cards at all. So you could have already been testing it for like 3 weeks, and you can just keep jamming the same deck.
Exactly.
And here I might need to do a drive up to yours to steal a Lugia deck.
Oh God's sake! Someone's already asked for Dragos.
I've got 4-3 Lugia. I haven't played them since like Stuttgart 2003.
They're mint. Mint unused.
What about the other? There's some other decks though that I think could come about. I was thinking of Ancient Box. I still think that has somewhat
just
of a show.
Takes a fat L to Charizard, and Drago's not the easiest either. So with Dragapult, you can
Dragapult's difficult, but I don't think it's impossible.
It's not impossible, but I think it's tough. I think
if they play the Goodra, it's very bad.
Yes.
If they play the Goodra.
Yeah. If they play the Goodra.
Yeah.
I think I would lean probably to most people will, but I was trying a very simplified list.
I don't think I would try Goodra either.
Only because I would mostly put it in out of respect for Lugia. And then it has these other upsides.
I just want to jam to get to the other attackers as soon as possible because I think they're just so much better.
Well, against everything but Lugia.
Well, yeah, obviously.
It depends. Don't forget that people want to play Mew tag team, and this is their throwback. So they want to have the smorgasbord to be like, look how smart I am. I have all these attackers for all these situations.
Nah, you take the L. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Have you guys spoken about Control and whether that'll have a good showing?
No, I haven't
I said the word, but then Joe like immediately ignored me.
Sorry.
I think Lax is. I'm trying to coax Elliot into playing it. I still think it's really good. It has a very good win percentage.
I also think there won't be enough people. Like I said, with these other decks squeezing spaces and cutting corners, a lot of those corners are going to be the Control Respect cards.
Yeah.
I think you still struggle really badly against Guardi if they're a good player. In my opinion.
I think it very much comes down to energy counts. I feel like if Guardians are on 7 psych energy, I think they actually really suffer out, even if they try and do the optimal board state.
That's how I beat one this weekend. They played 7, and it was. I think it really hurts them. Simple.
Yeah.
Because you're spreading the energy across the board, and then eventually.
Did you play Handy Fan, Rab?
No.
Because I think Handy Fan could be a massive swing card in the Guardian matchup as well.
I've seen that introduced in a lot of Japanese lists now. I do want to try it.
I think that's the logic. Even if you play 1, I think it's big. Yeah.
I'm too protective of having full flute in my deck. I'm too much of a.
That's fine.
I'm too much of a Pied Piper to play it. Full flute. I think
pay
it's very
the piper.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
It's time to pay the piper.
I played the third one down, turn 3, and I said, "Pay the piper." It was like, very good.
Terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I probably need to put a bit of time into Snorlax just because I have the cards and I do enjoy. Well, I say enjoy.
You do enjoy it.
I don't enjoy it.
There could be the classic inflection point of if there's not enough people backing Lugia and if all the Zards are Dust Noir, which, logically speaking, I think most people would lean to. It would have to be a very brave Metacal to be like, no, I'm going to be the one playing Petch Zard because I want to respect Snorlax. So there could definitely be that window of opportunity for.
I was actually. So Elliot said, "What about Petch into Zard now?" Because of course I'd say 80 to 90% of them are going to be playing it. And I actually wasn't too afraid of it only because of Cornerstone Overbomb. I still think that Zard will struggle regardless of having that, and I think there could be very funky board states to where Snorlax or Control or whatever it is can just kind of.
I would expect Drago to play a Shred Attacker or Cologne and have their recycle for it. I know, Dow, you played Cologne at NAIC to give you a bit of help.
And Kieran and Churro.
Yeah, I think I think Zards are less likely to play Tex, but I think again it's the classic they can, and it's
it's just that awful cycle of like will you be able to find it in the right spot?
I feel like there's it's people want to put probably before we get to Worlds, there's going to be this squeeze that like Raging for Ogerpon are once again going to put the squeeze on the Zard to play the answer by throwing the mask back into their deck as well. Control could be popping up. I think there is going to be this eventual squeeze where Zard really has to make a tough choice about what cards and what matchups it wants to win and lose against. Like they'll have to weigh up like their Lugia tech space versus the Control tech spaces versus the like mirror tech spaces. So I think that will be a genuinely big headache for the Zard builders.
I think that's really funny because Zard, I think, has changed so much in the past couple of formats to where it has had to kind of jam in all of these different tech cards and these different approaches to play. But it's managed to more or less stay on top regardless of what it has within the deck. I mean, Alex, you spoke about playing two INO. I think if you said that about 6 months ago, I think people would probably faint. But I think now, you're playing all of these different techs and you're playing these different approaches to play, like I said, and it's still managing. But it's whether...
It's fine, we just go back to 2-1-2 Zard. That's all your space right there.
It's whether it still can. But I mean, people have played this kind of hybrid of Control and Zard. I think whether people take that kind of that skeleton and add the Duskar and all that kind of stuff, who knows? But I'm sure the cooks are brewing. But
Silene Pheasantipity, that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Silene
Pheasantipity combo, let's go.
Okay. That's scary. I think we've been speaking for 55 minutes, which is pretty wild. But I think we saved a lot of the world's
Have
chat for the next couple of.
We can get into the nitty gritty of lists later.
But,
yeah.
Speaking about continuing this conversation, though, I wanted to speak about the what do I call them, underdogs, or the stuff that's outside of people's mindsets, the Arceus Giratinas. I know Luke obviously won a cup with Gouging Fire on the weekend.
He sure did.
You know, what about these sorts of? Do you think there will be many surprises in testing? Do you think people will favour some of these outer rim?
The outer
archetypes?
rim.
Yeah.
Your credits are no good here. I don't know. I see no compelling reason to play Arctina. I see no compelling reason to play Gouging Fire.
I haven't seen his list.
It doesn't matter.
No?
You just know that even if his list is all singing, all dancing, at the fundamental core is that you're still being far more of a combo deck than a Gouging Fire. Than a Raging Bolt, right? You just need to hit so many more pieces. And I think a lot of his win percentage comes from like Delphox V surprise factor on turn 1 or 2. And like that's valid and it could still happen at Worlds, but like yeah, the deck's just not as good as the other decks. It's like pretty simple.
I think those who are used to playing those kind of decks and sort of more surprise decks, you know, is it Brandon Effiott with the Espathra, you know, played at multiple regionals. Like players like that who kind of like to lean into that probably are testing those kind of more out there decks. But I think for Worlds, we're just going to see a lot of, as your favourite word, a plethora of what's expected.
I do love that.
In all honesty, I think it will just be the tweaks within them that will be the most impressive parts of a deck.
It's weird. I've always been a very risk-averse player, and it's never paid off for me at Worlds. So maybe I need to change my mentality and start going mad. There was one year I played Rogue. Everything else I've been like very bog. Let me add an extra 2 supporters to the already simple list.
I remember a week before Washington, we went to a Canuck pre-Worlds event, and out of about the 8 of us that went, 7 of us played Mali, and then you played Whimsicott GX.
I mean, that was just a fun tournament, right?
Yeah. Still, shows where the mindset is, though.
I 100% wasn't taking Whimsicott to practice for Worlds, I'll say that. I just wanted to play Whimsicott because it was funny.
Yeah, you say that.
It was really funny. It was very funny.
Dow, what about yourself, though? Of course, playing Worlds, there might be a million decks on your mind. I know Zard's probably top there as well as Snorlax, but is there anything that you think you may want to have? Well, you may want to dip your toes into before you get on the plane.
I think I kind of mentioned it already. I think if I was going to play it next week, then it would be a Zard build of some sort. Lugia would be a deck I would carry with me, just because I do have to have that opportunity to maybe gamble.
I honestly respect it, dude. I honestly respect it. Especially like the higher caliber player you face, the more RNG takes over games anyway. So just leaning into that is just like so reasonable for Worlds. That's
exactly the reason. And it's Worlds. I mean, it's likely
go big
to
or go home.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the easiest way for me to get an invite for next season is to try and top 4 it. So.
Well, you did it at NAIC, so I mean, there's no doubt.
Well, I mean, I did top 4, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You got the points you needed to get. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if we've just got to try and figure it out. Yeah. I'm sure you know me. I'll be in your DMs. I'll be messaging you at 3 a.m. and asking you what's the board state against Gardevoir with Snorlax. What do I do?
How does Lax beat Future Bucks? It'll be some random matchup that you won't face that you'll be worried about as well. Classic.
But yeah, those. I mean, like I said, the main thing on my mind right now is just kind of taking something I've not necessarily played, but at least have good knowledge of in the current meta. May have a couple of tweaks here and there, but I think that's the most comfortable thing I could potentially take to a tournament like Worlds.
Very logical.
Yeah. Fair.
And I mean, you were just touching on that being really safe and things at Worlds before. You've seen some of the decks I've played at Worlds. Yeah, we won't talk about them here. They're probably
all over the place.
Another podcast.
Yeah.
But we try and have fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, we've blessed your ears for the past hour with some fantastic insights and content. So we'll ramble on till the end here. Joe, what's your plans for this weekend?
Lots of editing this week. I'm
Editing?
doing, I've got this. The set review will be up. I don't know if it will be before or after this goes up, but this week that's happening. And then I'm editing and post-commentating all the tabletop gameplay that me and Jack did. So I'm locking myself here and just commentating over all of those games, and then they'll be up very soon.
You guys didn't do that live together. Isn't that more fun?
No, because I times 2 speed the gameplay.
Oh yeah, that's very true. That's
for
very
the
true.
for the video for the viewers.
But then you'd have squeaky
Have you,
voices.
Have you
if
seen?
you guys done it?
Have you seen the video where I accidentally popped into the Discord though?
No.
Well, I mean, that was edited out. I obviously edited that bit out.
What happened?
So here's the scene. We've got a Discord chat with a few mates, Pokemon people, and me and Jack are in a separate channel that says recording booth. So you'd think that when two people are screen sharing,
I just see the people in there,
and there's Joe and Jack in the recording booth area, that you wouldn't just pop in and go, all right. And so I was like mid-sentence for the recording, and I just had to go, no, get out.
So
and I had to reset the board state and say the whole sentence again.
And what's funny is that when I entered the Discord, I just say, how's it going? You alright? And then Joe's voice, no.
It wasn't even that. You were just like, ugh. It felt like you'd had a really long day. You really needed to kick back with your mates and just really chill out a bit.
No.
And straight away you're getting a big...
And he'd clicked the wrong voice channel.
No,
like he's intended to go into there not looking that we were obviously working at the time.
We'll have to get on the bloopers at the end of the season.
So I actually am going to do a bloopers thing. So
yeah, blooper reel.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I've started to accumulate some clips for that because tabletop is so shoddy that the amount of stuff that I've had to edit out, almost all of the edit. So the editing is either thinking time for one of us or both of us, and then it's just like navigating tabletop time.
Yeah.
So the blooper reel might be over an hour, to be honest. That's a lot of tabletop gone wrong.
Can we continue with the monkey counter that Jack has for his progressive series?
He needs to put Persimmon back in his deck because that's my favourite thing about the series so far. I'll be honest.
But it could just be like
Guess
a
the
mess
viewers
up
in.
counter for Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
tabletop mess up counter.
More and more, I'm realizing this series is pretty much exactly for me and Jack, and we're just enjoying the process of making
It's
and doing
good though.
videos.
It's good to watch. It's nice to watch though because you're both.
And we've said
enjoying
this.
yourselves.
We need to take it offline.
We love it.
I still need a bout tomorrow.
It doesn't get enough. Well, it would be a lot more
doesn't get
reasonable
enough
if
love.
it got views for us to continue it. I feel like it's going to be a short run series that serves its purpose in that we've had downtime and had to fill it, and it's been amazing for that and amazing fun for us. But it's hard to justify spending as much time as we do each week for these videos when we would get more for much less.
It is a lot of effort. We appreciate it. I mean, it gives us another like.
Huh?
You're just bunging on this channel.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No?
Ben. But I was trying to say that is another like fun format for us. 'Cause obviously, we play Cube, but a progressive series is just another like fun thing that we can do as mates and what other people should.
Yeah,
maybe even try
I've
to do
had
just to see new cards.
I've had a ton of like cool DMs and messages about it, and other people starting it themselves, and that's been really wholesome and cool. So I'm glad some people have enjoyed it at the very least.
Yeah, the Welsh community have been playing it that I know.
The Welsh community.
They've been enjoying it, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan, what
Just
are you up
have
to this
to-
weekend?
Just have to like, comment, and subscribe, and there'll be more episodes. Don't worry about that.
What for Spill the TCG?
Yeah,
Right?
it all
Yeah.
counts. It all,
More
It all counts.
progressive series episodes if you subscribe.
All
comment.
publicity is good publicity.
all roads lead to
This weekend, I mean, it's the first weekend I don't have football or sport to watch, so that's
I know.
that's a
Oh,
shame.
honestly,
Wimbledon was incredible.
Wimbledon was incredible, and then the hype to the England game was amazing as well. That was just such a cool day. And the Palmer goal, oh my god, that was just elation.
What was funny about it?
I was in a pub in central London, and like randomly walks in just as the game's about to kick off. Is Greg Davies?
Yeah,
oh,
guy
really?
from Taskmaster.
The radio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he just walks in and like just basically, I mean, you can see he's a massive dude, right?
Yeah.
Massive guy, and I'm just, me and my mates are just there going, it's fucking Greg Davies.
Yeah.
It's just as he just wanders looking for his mates in the back of like the pub. So yeah, if he was standing where we originally were stood, so I could have had my moment and like celebrated Palmer and hugged him.
Oh my god.
That would have been wholesome.
Engulfed by Greg Davies. That would be brilliant.
You could have picked me up like a rag doll or something.
You could have
thrown you around.
You could have filled him as well. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, so no sport
you should have been
this
there
weekend.
when Phil Foden was getting substituted. You should have just gone to him. Thanks for that, Phil.
He definitely would have got it as well.
Would have been perfect.
Definitely would have got it. Fair.
This poor man just wants to watch the England game.
No.
I've been loving the whole England journey. It's been great because I've been in the Discord. Because I've been like proper. Oh, he's got to make a change here. Like really. It's like
we have a few mates that do get quite animated about it.
I know Joe knows I'm taking the piss, but
I think everyone knows you're taking the
Who
piss.
else doesn't? Who else
You are so blatant. I actually messaged Rab being like, "You are being far too blatant. Like this is only funny for you at this point."
And then at that point, I don't even think it's funny for him.
No, he's still enjoying it. He's still enjoying it.
I love it.
He's thinking there's a world of possibilities in terms of what people could reply to what he's saying. And
why I do it is because I imagine what you're thinking when you read it. That's what makes me laugh. Yeah. That's my level of comedy.
I ignore most of your messages.
But but you got to read them at some point. Like
I don't think I do. I really don't.
See, if I continue to message, it will happen one day.
You'll just end up leaving the chat again.
If you look at the message and go, that's my win.
I don't think I've ever responded to you like that. That's the goal. Yeah. I just think, Benjamin, you're an idiot. But yeah, no sport this weekend. I've got kids' parties. Summer's a busy period.
Oh, fair.
But yeah, no sport. It's not very upsetting.
Saturday, I'm playing a cup, and then I'm.
No one asked, Ben.
I'm home alone because Harriet is staying over her parents, and if anybody knows when I'm the happiest, it's when I'm completely alone. And Harriet hates it.
Naked, sprawled on the sofa.
Harriet hates it because I'm like, I just can't wait for Saturday. I'm going to order a pizza. I'm going to do this.
He's not going to move, and he's just going to melt into the sofa. It's just going to be a sweat patch.
When we went to Rhodes, she went to a bridesmaids thing. I had the day for myself. She came back. I said, that was probably the best day I've had in years. I'm totally serious as well. It was great. I had a pasta on the seaside. It was brilliant. So I'm
what are you going to do when you're alone?
I'm going to watch a film, I think. Have a pizza. Have a Guinness.
I'm definitely going to watch Long Legs. We spoke about it before we hit record. I'm definitely going to watch it.
I think as well, I need to start publicising my reviews. Because I don't
see why not.
Yeah,
Put them on, get your tweets out there.
Because I've got 50 reviews in that Discord.
In our Discord, there's 50.
50. There's 50 total reviews, and you all.
What I would like is your rating scale to have some sort. I would like some sort of rating scale to be more consistent or have some meaning towards it.
Do I need to put criteria? Do I need to put criteria for? Ratings?
I need your full 1 to 10 because there are definitely
there's definitely
like
wild.
There's 3 paragraphs of text of like berating it and then just a 9 out of 10, and then like. Or like an 8 out of 10 next to an 8 out of 10 that you've like said this is an incredible film. I loved it, and they both received 8s, and it just doesn't make sense.
There needs to be some standardization.
Yeah, I've only given a 10 I think twice. I think I've given a 9 once.
Do you remember your 10s?
It was.
This is film and TV. I think
it was film,
review, right?
Film and TV. I given a 10 to There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis. And I think maybe something else. I've given it a couple of 9s as well. But,
But like, you need to say what the scale is.
I need to give a scale. Yeah.
If it's a purely this was Rab's enjoyment out of 10, like that's one thing to say.
Oh
or
yeah,
like,
you can just have two. You can just have two scores.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thing.
Or is it like how good is the film out of 10? Because that's where the rating is weird for me.
Because I gave, what was the last Marvel film I watched? Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
3. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was all right, but I gave it a 6, and then I gave something else a 7 or 8, and I was quite highly critical of it. And
yes. This is where the whole rating system is.
I can't give Guardians of the Galaxy more than a 6. I mean, it's not. I enjoy it.
This is why you need to.
I enjoy a Twister, but it's not Haagen-Dazs. You know what I mean? That's like that's the level.
That's completely fine, but at the moment there's no rating scale whatsoever.
No,
so we see you saying,
we literally just get a random score.
We get the paragraphs of and then there's a random number attached to it, which essentially means nothing. Really.
Means nothing, yeah.
If you think about it. So.
All right. Well.
Good.
Yeah. Well, more of this next.
But I do think you should start posting them as long as you set out a scale for your ratings. Yeah. Or you could just do 2 ratings. You could do your enjoyment out of 10 and the. You know how good the film is.
The Metacritic score and the user score.
Get your Rotten Tomatoes out, you know.
Yeah.
RabDB
I need to have
route.
more consistency.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I will look forward to that this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening. This has been Spill the TCG podcast with me, Ben, and my co-casters, friends, commentators, mates, pals. Joe and
Stretching
Alex.
there, mate.
Yeah. Any shout outs? Any nothing?
More film reviews to come.
More. All right, more, please.
More tea to come.
All right. See you later, guys. Bye.